Cool. All right, let's get started. Hey, firstly, everybody, welcome to another fortnightly session of
Right, let's
Business
get
by
started,
Design,
mate.
where we come together as
First,
fellow collaborators and industry agents across the country, irrespective of the brand, the network, the office, or the flag that you might fly to, help collaborate and create success with intention with all of us. And folks, just a friendly reminder, thank you to everybody who's reached out to me over the last week from previous sessions, wanting the sharing of intellectual property that we provided on these sessions. Just a friendly reminder, if this is your first session, you're watching it live or the replay, these sessions are free, right? So you don't need to register. You don't need to give your credit card details. You don't need to become part of this paying club and membership as such. Tony and I and many of the special guests we're going to have on future sessions, we are transactional agents on the ground, right? Doing listings and sales, and we're sharing a lot of the intel of what we're doing within our transactional business to help you find your own individual success within your own real estate business. So, friendly reminder, it's free, it's fortnightly. Share this far and wide. If you know any fellow industry agents that could benefit from these sessions, please hit that share button now across all social media channels. We will, at the conclusion of every session, send everybody a replay of the session, plus any of the intellectual property that we're going to be sharing. So thanks to those that have been reaching out to me. Tony, we're very fortunate because the philosophy of this came about because we're in a community and in a model that we did all this on a weekly basis. We collaborated as industry agents. We shared a lot of what's working in our business, how we're creating win and success within our businesses. But not every agent, unfortunately, is in a similar community environmental model such as ours. So the intention of this, folks, was to open up to all industry agents for that reason. Now, Tony, today we're going to jump in, co-host with you, my fellow comrade and industry agent mate, and we're going to talk about a subject matter around building success with a contact matrix. Now, folks, we're not going to be giving you a blue magical matrix pill like the movie today, but Tony's going to step us through some workflow and processes that have helped him create massive success in his own transactional business. So, Tony, mate, I'm pumped. Let's jump into building success with the contract matrix.
No worries. Thanks, Chris. As Chris said, we've both been transacting for many years. We're both with EXP Realty, as you can tell, and logos and different things like that. We're not here to push the company or anything like that. We are here just to collaborate. And I saw one of my first mentors, Rick Rushton, posted a video on LinkedIn this week, and the final frontier for real estate is collaboration, is what he said. He's not part of our company, and many of you have heard of Rick Rushton. He's been one of the well-known trainers in Australia for many years, but certainly this session is part of a larger planning session that we're going to do later in November. I apologise because the topic's a bit dry. So, I'm a systems and processes guy, and I implement, which is again something that is the hardest thing to do, the implementation of all the ideas we gather. So I'm an implementer, and I'm hopefully going to give you some tools today on how to implement this particular topic, and just what it's for. So. Contact with our clients. This is what we're talking about. And I'm going to bring up on the screen today. No need to take notes. No need to try and record or anything. No need to. I'm going to give you the Excel spreadsheet that I'm going to show on the screen today. If anyone doesn't get it, just contact me and I'll send it to you. But if you have a problem getting it, but it's an Excel spreadsheet that I've used in the past. I've tailored a bit for today. And it's about creating consistent contact with your clients. And that contact being strategic to help you build long-term relationships and just to stay top of mind with those clients because they're your future business. Also going to help you drive referrals through your client base, and that's the, I suppose, foundation of why we're talking about this today. And I'm going to show you now, if I can just share my screen. And you're going to see a spreadsheet. So this is the foundation of a contact matrix. So I'm going to go over just a little bit some of the information we're seeing in the middle of the screen here. So over my career, I've called them, I said, what are the food groups that we have, our client types? And you can see there in the middle of the screen here where it says client types. And it shows you the types of clients we deal with every day but they're the same but different. They're all clients. So past vendors, you can see there, these are people you've sold a property to, for. So you've transacted with them. They're a client that you've completed a transaction, they've settled and moved. And as I've said there, I think in my notes, that a lot of these people, whilst they may leave our area, they leave behind friends, family, and contacts. You know, their kids have gone to local schools. They've got a big network of people that are in that area that you sold their property in. And even if they've left behind this network. The next, they're past purchases. So these are people, obviously, you've sold the properties to. These people are still in your area, in their homes, and are going to be your future business and your referral business. Then you've got the past appraisals. So these are people, obviously, that we've appraised their home. They haven't come to market yet. They're doing whatever they're doing, preparing their home for sale. And as we know, I've appraised people 10 and 15 years ago that still haven't sold their house. Am I still staying in contact with them? That's the key, and that's what this is all about. Landlords, investors. So these are people that you may know that are investors or landlords, or they might be people you've sold a property to and they're the owner of the property and it has a tenant in it at the moment. So they are a past purchaser, but they're also a landlord investor. So they're interested in property for a different reason other than their principal place of residence. And then there's a few others there that that's about, those first four are about where I normally stop. And I do take note of the others. It depends on your areas and depends on where you want to go with this. But expired listings, you can have a look and you can see how long properties have been on the market. We're all researching that these days and we're contacting people. For sale by owners and private sales, things like that. Tenants, important one that I think has to be in the mix and for the reasons that I've written there. And then there's some others there, depending on your areas, developers and builders, buyers agents, expireds I did right before, referrers, and then others. So in your particular marketplace, you may have other client types that are specific to you, but those first four are probably the ones that have been most important to me over the years. The one that's not there is your current vendor, and they're there just as a matter of course, and they're either going to be a past vendor very soon or they've been a past appraisal. So they're in between those two situations at the moment because you've got them on the market or they're on the market with someone else, just as important. So, Chris, anything you'd like to add to that as just identifying first who our client types are?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, we're all probably running CRMs and we categorize our pipeline of clientele in categories. I know we run Agent Box at eXp Realty as part of our subscription, and you have contact classes where you can assign, you know, if it's an investor, a developer, a past appraisal, a current vendor, past vendor. So this aligns exactly with what most CRMs and how they operate with contact classes these days.
So you've mentioned a critical word there, and that's CRM. Everybody's got one. When I started, I was given an exercise book. Then we got these computer programs and now they're all cloud-based, and hopefully everyone that's watching, we know our EXP agents have Agent Box, but everyone's using the CRM because that's going to be critical in making this work. So the next thing I want to talk about is then the contact methods. And you can see down the left-hand side here, I've got a list of different contact methods. You may or may not do them all or implement them all, but you want to think about just what each one of them's for. And as you can see up the top left, the phone call. So direct personal touch that allows for real-time conversations. There's no surprise as to what the phone call's for. It's probably supersedes everything because it's that straightforward conversation that you're having with your potential clients, and it really is about building rapport and improving that relationship for the future. Next one, there's SMSs, and we all have different systems for SMSing at the moment. You will see that there's a hyperlink on that one. I'm just going to put my phone on mute because it keeps on binging. It's live. There's a hyperlink on the word SMS there. So that will link you to our training session we did a month ago on the Blink digital business card, which becomes something that I'd like you all to be putting in your SMS, a link to it, and on a lot of your other communications. But that's just a reminder that that's where that training session is. But the SMS is obviously, we think now that probably more SMS gets opened than posted mail and email. So it's
Agreed,
probably
mate.
more direct than both, an important factor. Next one there, we've got a weekly email or a market update. So we've got a couple of our agents who do this very, very well using, I know one of our agents, Bjorn, I don't know if he's here today, uses ActivePipe, and I think Chris, you do too, that staying in touch with your clients once a week via that type of method. So certainly being consistent with that and being that person that is informing them about what's happening that week in the marketplace, your opens and things like that. Next one down is our monthly agent magazine. Again, there's a hyperlink there because we did do a training session on that 2 weeks ago. And the monthly agent magazine in the mix now is a very, very important thing for agents to set themselves apart from their competitors in their suburb. Then you might do things like a market report quarterly, so something that's a little bit more substantial, talks about median price changes, successes you've had with highest prices in a particular suburb or street, things like that. But it's giving your clients an update as to the big picture of their market by quarter. Next one, there's a Christmas card. So I don't know if everyone does Christmas cards. I've been doing them forever. I do 100 or 200 every year. I still do handwrite them. They will change whether you're getting a cheap little card from the newsagent or you're getting something that's, custom printed. But and I know Christmas videos. Chris does Christmas videos to his clients with links. I'm getting cards this year that are going to have QR codes to my monthly magazine. Going to have photo of myself and my partner, that my wife in who we both do real estate. So that sort of thing, very critical. Social media posts and comments. Now I've written their comments. So one thing to post, it's another then to, when you've got clients that are either on your friends list or they're commenting on your posts or whatever they may be, just putting your comment yourself on things they're doing. And I've written there, like if a client posts they're going to Bali, a simple comment of have fun. You're just being part of their communication mix in their bigger, broader social media world. And whilst you're probably not their friend, you're on their friends list or they're in your page, and it's just something to create that contact, just to be making comments, whether that's on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. That's certainly something, especially Instagram, because as you know, you don't have to be friends, you're just following. And just putting that, whatever the comment may be that's pertinent, make it short, make it brief, but they'll just see your name. Just listed, just sold, critical for all your properties. I don't think I have to describe anything more about those. Invite to opens. So an updated CMA, and a lot of our agents are doing updated CMAs using programs like RP Proposals and Realtares. And with particular client group, I'm going to talk about frequency and client groups and what these are for in a minute. But with particular client groups, that's very important. Anniversary cards, the anniversary of the client's purchase. Investor updates, so updates that are specific to investors about things that are happening in with laws, with yields, with interest rates, etc. I'm sure there's no end to the topics we can cover with that. Whether you're hosting events and things. And the last one I put there before others is just a note to say. So I used to have cards that were just blank on the front with the company logo, and they had on the bottom there just a note to say, and I opened them up and I wrote whatever I felt like and made them hand delivered. They're the contact methods. There's a bit going on there. And as I said, you're all going to get this, so don't worry about what you're seeing here and having to try and memorize or copy or do anything. So you're all going to get it. It's now what we do with this. Any questions or any comments you want to make on that, Chris?
Mate, I love it. It's a bulletproof blueprint prospecting plan annually there. Now it reminds me too, mate. Like there's stuff on there that I used to do that I haven't done for quite some time, But when you keep consistent at this, if you're doing that at the height of your business, mate, if you follow this religiously, how many transactions would you be selling a year following this blueprint?
Yes, well, in my career, this is probably just doing, and I'll talk to you about the minimum. I don't do 100% of all of these things, but just doing those four groups and probably half a dozen of those methods is probably getting me a sale a week for all of my career, 50
Awesome.
a year without trying, if you know what it is.
Recession proofing your business.
It is. So,
There it
you know,
is.
yes, you'll get those, you'll get clients from other methods, like buyers who come to opens and different things like that. People you
Yep.
haven't got a relationship and you didn't know until that very day. And we've all hopefully had an open and virtually walked 24 hours later with a listing from a buyer you'd never met before. Fantastic.
Yep.
But if we relied on that, we'd be all broke.
Yep.
So,
Brilliant. I
so
like
the
it.
next
It's
thing I
simple,
want
mate.
to do, I want to talk about these, and I'm going to flip to a tab that has this complete. And now I'm going to talk about some of the recurrences and why. So, and where I've put different client types. So you can see the phone call at the top, the past vendor, I think I've got there as an example. You can see it there in January, May, September, 3 times a year. Past
Yep.
purchases, once, twice, 3 times a year. Might be twice a year, might be once a year on their anniversary. There's no rule here. It's just coming up with a plan. The past appraisal, 1, 2, 3, might be a little bit more frequent, the phone call, but this is the phone calls, the first contact. But what this has done in that first row is planned out your phone calls for the whole year. Notice there's no phone calls in December. I don't do that in December. Same with everything backs off in December. But
Sure.
the phone call is, now you've got them all planned out for the whole entire year. If you want to do it twice, 3 times, 4 times, whatever you're going to do, but all you got to do if you're using your CRM correctly, go to the CRM, bring up your filter for your past vendors, print out a list or look at it electronically and get on the phone. And you've got all months to do it. And then February comes and you do the next category. But it's a plan that if you implement just that one row, your life will change. Guaranteed.
Yep.
And then SMSs, you can see I've got through there. Then the third one, the next one down, weekly email, and I've got all plus buyers. So if we're doing an email, everyone can get it. There's no reason for anyone not getting it. If you feel that you might be spamming some people that aren't, you know, perhaps past vendors don't want it, I don't know. But anyone that's in real estate mode loves the past email. And I know people that have been getting my emails for years and years and years and years, and they've not sold a house for years and they still love getting them. So, you know, certainly something that's important. The monthly magazine is just an everybody, you know, and if you go back and watch that video on the magazine, you'll see by the content that it just is for everyone. Quarterly newsletter or quarterly market reports, obviously they're in those quarterly wherever you want to put your quarters. Christmas cards, October, November, to everybody that, so I don't do them to everybody, and this is your call. As I said, I do 100 or 200. I do pick the eyes out of my database. Otherwise, I'll be doing 3,000 Christmas cards, and that isn't going to work. But for the people that I believe, in my database, my top 100 people, we used to do top 50s all the time in sales meetings and things. But I look at a top 100, certainly a Christmas card. I've developed some resources for Christmas cards for our crew, and which I can share also. Something you probably need to be ordering within the next month maximum.
Just add to that too, Tony. Another great initiative that I do myself as well is a letter from Santa. It can be to your clients. You can just put it on your socials. You can get anyone. Obviously, clients will have to register the information of, you know, where Santa's to post the letter to the kids and the child's first names. But that gets a fantastic response, a lot of inbound engagement. And what I've done in the past, you know, it's at least about 450 odd letters I do annually. And it's a nice printed letter, looks like it's handwritten from Santa Claus in a nice envelope. And we go out and drop it out to their letter boxes in December. It takes up a bit of time and resources, but it's a great personable touch as well.
Yeah, and you can see their written Santa letter. And the other thing that I've done in the past, I've written their colouring competitions. So fantastic thing to do at Christmas. And you can do this electronically on your social media. and you're obviously going to start it probably, sometime through November and run it through to Christmas week. We used to do colouring competitions for under 10s and over 10s and win a bike. So you can go down to Kmart and buy a bike for a couple $100, and you put a picture of those bikes, and believe me, that'll get kids colouring. And then the parents are going to see the post, not the kids. They're going to have to download and print off the colouring competition. Obviously, you can make them printed available if you'd like. Go print 100 down at Officeworks and tell everyone that you'll be able to make them available if they like, or post them one. It does get the parents engaged. It gets a lot of conversation going. You get to, as you receive them, you get to post them on your social media. And we had pictures of a Christmas themed picture with the office in there with a logo type thing. So, it still had the branding of your company on it, but fantastic little competition. I know a lot of you are doing it with Easter eggs and all that sort of thing, but it just gets a bit of interaction rather than just guessing how many eggs are in the jar. It gets people have to physically do something. The parents have got to print it out, get the pencils, get it, submit it to you, all of those things. So it's getting a lot of activity in your marketplace. Social media posts I've talked about. Just listed, just sold. So just listed, just sold. You're doing 20, you're doing 50, you're doing 100, whatever it is you're doing. When I say all of your client types in that 100 around the home that you're doing that dropper in are getting it, because in that 100, there might be a house you sold a few doors down, there might be appraisal you did 2 streets away, whatever it may be, they're getting that. So all over time, depending on how many listings you're getting in the geography of your listings. Invites to open, the same. If you're doing printed invites to open, or if you're doing them electronically, everyone's getting them on the social media. The updated digital CMA is obviously typically for those that you've transacted with or that you've done an appraisal with, so that you're doing that CMA. You can see I've put past appraisals there twice a year. So I think that giving an updated CMA to an appraisal you've done in the past twice a year is giving them really good content. You might do it 4 times a year. You might do it once. You follow it up with a phone call afterwards, checking in, did they get it? This is all, as I said, in your CRM that you're programming these things in. Anniversary cards down the bottom here. So you're doing them to past purchases on there, obviously every month, depending on their anniversary date. Investor updates, important things for your landlords and investors, a couple of times a year, just giving an overview of what's happening in your market as far as investing. Events, if you're doing them, you might do an event or 2 a year. We've all probably done different events. We used to do movie nights, that sort of thing. That's a great one. We've done art gallery openings and different things. Just a note to say, and the birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, really depending on if you know them. Kids' birthdays, you can get all Glenn Coutinho on them and start sending gifts to everyone for everything. But if you watch the video we have on our one of our channels on Glenn Coutinho presenting to us at one of our conferences, what he does is this on steroids. But if watching him certainly motivates me, but if seeing this type of layout and this type of contact schedule, do you think if you could implement this or part of this that it would improve your business? I certainly do.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And all it's helping you trying to achieve is, one, have a bit of structure throughout the year rather than sitting and waiting and hoping somebody's going to call you today. And 2, it's going to help you accelerate your contact points of getting through your data, because, I see a lot of people that have data. They want thousands and thousands and thousands of record, but it's just sitting there. It's really orphan data, Tony, because it's not being nurtured. It's not being contacted consistently. So this is a real savvy and smart plan to ensure that whatever data you have, whether it's 500, 5,000 contacts, that it's being nurtured and contacted regularly on an annual basis. But it's not just contact; it's also being personable, like you said, through the events, and engagement through those events. This is a great time of year in my core area. We hold a community event where we put on a sausage sizzle, barbecue. We get a face painter, a jumping castle, local businesses we support. We bomb the area leading up to December, and it's just a couple of hours at the local school who we are engaged with the principal. They allow us access to their amenities, the oval, their basketball courts, and you get everyone from that community, postcode, your farm area, coming to those events. Anniversary cards, that's a great one. When I first started, I don't do it to this day, mate. I still call people on their anniversary to congratulate them. Really, the emphasis there is send something with the purpose and intention to have a reason to call. If you've sent, I send anniversary cards, mate, with $1 scratchy in there. And I would ring and say, hey, Tony, Chris Jansen, EXP Realty, mate, congratulations, 20 years today at 1 Smith Street. Hey, mate, are you a multi-millionaire with the $1 scratchy I sent you yet? Did you win? It's changing it about, do you want to sell? You got a home, do you want an appraisal? It's now I'm connecting with you on a more meaningful level.
Yeah, and look, if you're a past purchaser like that example that you talked about with their anniversary, if you use this type of matrix and you implement it, that person's getting that anniversary call and card. That person's getting a monthly magazine. They're getting a phone call 2 or 3 times a year. They're getting a market report on Friday night. By the time we get from January to December, if you don't have a relationship that's going well with this person, and by the time years pass, I don't know what's happened, but you are going to be the only real estate agent in their market that's done anything like this ever. If you can implement this type of thing, now you get this, print it off on an A3, stick it on your wall, stick it on your shower, whatever it might be. Just make sure that you've got it somewhere to see. And then it's about, in your CRM, implementing those recurring events, or in your calendar, put in the recurring events so that you can get to it and, work out how you're going to implement this. You're not going to do it all, but some of these things are really easy. And, still, 2 or 3 of these things are going to have an impact, even if you don't, even if you did, a monthly magazine and a once a year phone call, you're going to have an impact. It's everything more than that, and having it consistent and having it, repetitive, so that you become their agent. That's what the goal is.
Well, a great mentor of mine, Tony, when I first started my career nearly 16 years ago now, said to me, Chris, it's somewhere between 9 to 13 contact points that somebody remembers who you are, where you're from, and what you do. So how do you get through those 9 to 13 contact points so that they remember you? Well, this is exactly it. And, just making one call a year, they probably might recall who you are, not where you're from or what you do. But it's just helping accelerate those 9 to 13 contact points so that when you do call them, and when you've got this right, mate, because they've saved your number and they answer the phone and go, hey, Tony, how are you? Yeah. That's when the blueprint's working.
On top of this, hopefully you've got listings coming in and they're seeing your boards occasionally, and they're seeing, they might come to an open. You've had past buyers come to an open, or you've had, you're doing an ad in the local paper. So there's other contact points that are happening, but not direct. This is about creating a direct, methodical, systemized contact plan. And this is where your business plan builds out of, because these are the people, this is where your income is. It's right here on the screen at the moment. All the income you're ever going to get, so you're looking at. So it's how now to use your CRMs and your calendars and things to automate these follow-ups. But again, balancing that automation with the personal touches, like the phone call, like the anniversary card and things like that. So, making it one-on-one, and not just one to all. A weekly market email is one to all, even though it might say, Dear Chris, as long as it doesn't say Dear First Name. That's wonderful.
And I think and that's a really important note, because we're in that digital tech era right now where everybody wants automation, set and forget, right? And that's fine. There's tools you could plug in that will actually do a lot of this for you. Like, there are suppliers out there, Tony, that can send birthday and anniversary cards and, thank you cards on your behalf. And you could get somebody to take care of your social media with just solds and listeds and all of that. All of this can be plugged into automation to some degree, but there really has to be that hook of engagement of who is that person behind all of this. And that could be the call, it could be the event, it could be the door knock, whatever it is. So, you know, keep in mind, folks, set some of this on automation as I do with some email and SMS stuff, but still picking up that phone and having a conversation is the most critical aspect of everything that we do and supportive of this type of plan.
But, you know, and in picking up the phone, and, you know, many of my mentors over the years have something to say. You've got to be picking up the phone with a purpose and a reason. There's got to be a message there, not just, hi, how you going? You've got to have something to say, something personal to them or personal to their market or area or whatever it may be. But just think about that, pre-plan that. You know, often that's something to say, maybe the same for every call, but it's just pre-planning, you know, what's happening. You know, there might have been we've got a big new intersection happening here. They're changing all the roundabout the traffic lights. You know, it's, hey, have you been through the new thing? What a mess it's been for 12 months. You know, have you got around it? It just starts a conversation, whatever it might be. It's nothing to do with real estate, but have something to say. Have a couple of topics ready before you pick up the phone. That's clearly going to develop a better conversation than just, hi, how you going?
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Folk, that's just over 30 minutes on the contact matrix. As we said, no shiny promise of a blue pill, but definitely a solid blueprint there, mate. Thank you for sharing. You know, you've got decades of industry experience and, you know, consistently selling 50 plus homes. Well, like you said, this is helping you sell one home a week pretty much by following that, not 100% to the T, but majority of it. So whether you're watching this live or the replay, just know we'll be sending out, Tony will share that as an EDM and communication. We'll get that out to everybody accordingly. Mate, any final words before we wrap up the session?
Well, look, this is our third session. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We might change the time just slightly because we know that our colleagues in WA are a 7 o'clock start because we've gone to daylight savings. They haven't. Our time zones are a bit of a mess throughout Australia at the moment. We're dealing with 5 different time zones. So as a national company, that becomes very challenging. And I know that some of the people here that are just industry agents, I don't know where you are. If you've got up early, I appreciate that and thank you. We will be back in 2 weeks. We've got a couple of sessions through, it's going to be later October, November. We'll have quite a larger planning session in late November. That'll obviously give you a date for that, but hopefully you're getting some value out of this. And in 2 weeks' time, we'll hopefully have another session with enormous value. Anything that we can give you and leave behind, like the spreadsheet you'll get, please just ask. Yeah.
I'm thinking next fortnightly session, mate, tell me your thoughts. Maybe we can dive into some video content. I know some people are fearful in that place and space. So maybe
I didn't think that was going to be far away. I do think, video content, CapCut. So for those who'd like to know how to very quickly and easily do video, jump onto Chris's socials. You'll see some incredible video, whether it's reels on Facebook and Instagram. You know, I don't know how he does so much. He must do nothing else but film himself. But
that's what my wife
how to make
anyway,
it easy and quick, and that's something he can teach you. I think we'll do that in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think that sounds good, guys. So if you need some support in video content with scripting, teleprompting, shooting some content, to then how to editing it, very affordable. You don't need a digital creative person to do all that work for you. And then I can show you how to just create a very simple geo-targeting ad through Meta Ads, how to target a certain area, whether it's a suburb, a postcode, a region, whatever it might be. I think we'll jump into that next session. And I can do a live demo on my phone via Zoom as well. So I'll show you folks real live and raw, not using any editing programs or software on my computer, how I can shoot a video, teleprompt it, edit it, and then geo-target as well certain areas.
All in 30 minutes. So you have, when you rewatch that, you have to watch it on half speed.
Well, you can do that in CapCut. You can rewind, slow down, or increase the speed.
Awesome.
All right, folks. Thanks for joining us on another session. Thanks, Tony, for hosting, mate. Awesome session. Just absolute gold. Thanks for joining us live. And if you're watching the replay and you require any of the information, just reach out. Tony and I are only too happy to share and provide and collaborate with you all. Have a successful week, everyone. See you on the next fortnightly session. Bye for now.